5-40, and so I'll take a look at 5-39, which I think has very similar problems. And we work with some factorial stuff here. We'll end up having problems later too, and so we'll build upon this, I think, as time goes on a little bit. So these are some of the basic factorial problems, and then we'll get into other problems when we talk about permutations and combinations. And so our first one for A, 39A, it says just solve the problem, and that is what's 40 factorial divided by 35 factorial. A couple different ways to do this. Of course, you could go do the math. 40 times 39, that's what factorial means, by the way. If you have 3 factorial, it means 3 times 2 times 1, which would be 6 in that case. Okay, 40 factorial gets to be fairly lengthy, and certainly there's ways we could do that even using Excel that might make it a little easier, but there is one way with Excel that makes it extremely easy, and that's called using the factorial function. Okay, so once again, like we often do, we'll come up here and we'll hit the function. And one thing I haven't done often is showed you this. You can go here, okay, and we can come up here, and I can type in, you know, like I should have highlighted all that, but right, I could type in fact, okay, returns the factorial of a number equal to 1 times 2 times 3, so kind of saying it backwards, but basically the same thing. Okay, and I go okay, and it asks me for what the number is, and maybe I had the number in a cell which I could refer to, but I don't in this case, but the number's 40. Okay, so I click it in there. Gives me a big number. You know what that means is it's 8, and then you'd have to go 47 decimal points that way. You know, I have no idea what that number would even be. Okay, quinceptillions, I have no idea. Okay, way past trillions and billions and those things. And then we can do 35 factorial the same way. Right, so we'll just come up here, and in this case I'm going to hit most recently used because I just did use it, and 35 is my number. Okay, so now I've done 40 factorial and 35 factorial, and it wants me to divide those two, so I simply can do that here. This is equal to, let's hope it gives us a little smaller number, this divided by this. And it does. It's still a pretty good sized number, but 78,960, 78,960,960. Now, see, I also have that same answer here, and I did this. There's another way that you can do that, and that is when you have numbers like this, and it's 40 factorial divided by 35 factorial, you can cross off, you know, using basic algebra in both equations, everything to the right of 35 factorial, if that makes sense. So if you wrote it out, okay, everything to the right of 35 factorial would be crossed out both on the top and on the bottom. And so on the bottom you'd have 1, and then on the top you'd have 40 times 39 times 38 times 37 times 36, and that's pretty manageable. And you can see up here I put that in the formula, 40 times 39, 38, 37, 36, and I get the same answer. Okay, and so just kind of wanted to show you that there's a couple different ways that you can do that. Okay, so B is 7 factorial divided by 7 minus 4 factorial. Okay, and it's the exclamation point that means factorial. So once again, let's first do the 7 factorial, and pretty easy. Okay, 7, enter, boom. And then, you know, really you can do this math yourself. 7 minus 4 is equal to 3, and so what we have is 3 factorial. You can see I've already done that. Okay, and so it's 1 divided by the other. So once again, I simply do the math. That's equal to this divided by this. Okay, but I also, in this case, it didn't set the problem up like that. Okay, it set the problem up as being a permutation with the P, with the 7 on the left and the 4 on the right, and so I want to show you the real easy way to do that. But this is how you'd write that. Okay, if you look at that formula for permutations there on page 162 in kind of the peach, help me out with colors there, but it's n factorial divided by n minus r factorial. Okay, so that's where we got that. I'm sorry I didn't explain that. But again, Microsoft and Excel gives you a wonderful way to do the permutations, and that is, I used permutations. It's under the statistical one. Okay, but I used it recently. It's just permut. And it says the number, and in this case I'm going to use the one that's on the left, bottom left, is 7. And the number chosen is 4. So 7 is my N, 4 is my R. And as long as I can figure that out, it sure makes it really easy. Okay, and C then is the same thing, except it's a combination, right? And so that is combination of 5 and 2. So again, if I look at the combination formula, I've got combination and it tells me my N and my R, but that's equal to N factorial. So in this case 5 factorial divided by R factorial, or in this case 2 times N minus R factorial. So it kind of stretches it out a little bit, but I do my 5 factorial, which I've done like I've always done. 2 factorial is just equal to 2. I didn't even do that. That's 2 times 1. We should be able to get that. Okay, and then we got 5 minus 2 factorial, which is 3 factorial, right? Which we know is 6. And again, I didn't even bother doing the factorial. I just took 3 times 2 times 1, which is 6. So now I've got 120 divided by 2 times 6, or 120 divided by 12. Okay, and I put the formula in there, but it's simply equal to my C3, right, divided by these two here, multiplied times each other. Or 10. There you go. We also know that, and I'll show you real quick, that there is also a combination formula. And again, I'll use this one up here just to show you that it exists. Let's see if I just go that far, just to kind of give you an idea. Oop, it says please rephrase it, so I might have to type some more. Let's type the whole thing in and just see what happens there. Oh, there we go. So combin returns the number of combinations for a given number of items. There you go. So my number is 5, or N, right? And the number chosen is 2 then. And there you have it. Okay.